What up, everybody? It's your boy Kentario, and I'm back again for another episode of Christ and Comic Books. And this is a channel that is dedicated to identifying a Christ-like biblical message within anime, manga, comic books, and other such content. But also, let me make sure to say to you guys, please make sure if you like the content that is being produced on this channel, please make sure you hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell so you can get updates of my newest videos. As well as, please hit that like button. That way this video and my other content can be boosted through the YouTube algorithm. Not only that, I love to hear from you guys and hear your opinions and perspectives. So please make sure that you let me know those in the comment section. Thank you guys. Now, today's video is going to be, one, acknowledging that at the Sandiego Comicon, in the MCU team, Kevin Feige and his people, they came out with what is upcoming for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they have a long list of things to come. So we got, of course, I Am Groot, She-Hulk, Wakanda Forever, which they have the trailer for, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, Ant-Man and Wasp, Quantumania, Marvel's What If Season 2, Marvel Secret Invasion, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Slow, but we're always gonna finish fast.
Echo, Loki Season 2, The Marvels, Ironheart, X-Men 97, Blade, Agatha, Coven of Chaos, Daredevil, Born Again, Captain America, New World Order, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, Marvel Zombies, Spider-Man Freshman Year, Avengers Kang Dynasty, and Avengers Secret War. Now, of course, with this long list of new things to come, what could I possibly have to say in regards to all of these? Well, on TikTok, there was this question that was proposed. Like, well, how would you like to see the X-Men be introduced into the Marvel Cinematic Universe? And that's what I'm looking to hopefully expound on with what has already been released. I'm going to try to do my best by tapping into a little bit of what we've already seen versus some of the new stuff that we've seen with Phase 4, as well as with what is to come. So my first point that I want to hit on, the X-Men coming into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We already have evidence of that with Quicksilver as well as Scarlet Witch existing here in the MCU. Now, the tricky part with that is, within Wandavision, we already get a picture of what her origin was actually like, being that everything, her home and all of that she loved was impacted due to Stark Industries, as well as them being captured and experimented on using the Mind Stone, which in some sense leads you to think that, okay, well, that's how she got her powers, you know, they're not going the mutant route. But if we look at what's being expounded on within Miss Marvel, it looks as though, although she demonstrates her powers from the bangle that she has, that her powers are just actually being awakened within her that are already there. And we can suspect that that's the same case for both Quicksilver and Wanda, is that their gifts and their abilities were already there, they were just awakened by the Mind Stone. But we already have those early evidence of mutant characters being in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, here's a big, broad picture sense that I want to tap into, because what I said in my TikTok was that I believe that they should go the Dawn of X route. And for anyone that knows the X-Men storyline for Dawn of X, basically what's happened is the X-Men and other mutants, even their enemies, the Brotherhood of Evil, they are sick and tired of the way that mutants have been treated all throughout their time, from when early comic books were made, from the different time periods in which they made other comic books with X-Men, Avengers, Fantastic Four, and all of these different groups. What they were identifying was Iron Man, the Fantastic Four, Captain America, these other superpowered people for different reasons, Thor, etc. All of you are being welcomed with open arms by America and by all of these other countries. But us, every time someone finds out that we're a mutant, someone that was born with these genes, we are treated differently, discriminated against, isolated, even sought out and hunted. Like, that is a lot of the experience of the X-Men and other mutants. And they said, you know what? No more.
We have the power!
They're done with that. This is especially impactful due to, in comic books, when Scarlet Witch said no more mutants, she reduced the population of mutants across the multiverse all the way down to about 100. If it's not 100 per universe, it's 100 throughout the entirety of the multiverse. And so there's not many mutants left. And for them to still be discriminated against and for them to still be hunted, you know, we're going to take care of ourselves. What they end up doing is they end up moving themselves and the entirety of the mutant population that they can find over to the island known as Krakowa, which is a mutant mountain. which seems to be taking a page out of One Piece, where items can get devil fruit powers. You know, islands can have mutant powers. So I thought that was actually kind of funny. But they moved to this island and they began to establish themselves as their own nation, creating their own source of income, establishing their own council and government, and all of those types of things, even going to the extent of whenever a mutant is discovered doing damage or doing something within another nation or another country, the mutants will show up and say, hey, we'll handle them. You don't touch them. They're one of us. We will judge them in our courts. You don't need to deal with them, because there's no telling what you'll do. So they bring them over to Krakowa, and they isolate themselves. They don't have anything to do with their issues, their battles, their struggles. They deal with their own battles, their own struggles, and yet sometimes still conflicting with these other nations, because, hey, people hate mutants for one reason or another. Where does that lead me? That leads me down the road of Iron Man. Remember, Iron Man and other powerful people were being reached out to for reasons of, you know, hey, we have these enemies that we need to be able to be prepared to deal with. And personally, in some sense, we can assume, guess, or suspect that the mutants were a part of those concerns as well, because you never know what the mutants can do. They've isolated themselves. There's no telling if they're gathering an army of powerful people. We don't know what it is that they're doing. So on the offhand, we can suspect that that's happening. Now, why would I think that? Because we have no evidence of that throughout the MCU thus far. Well, where I suspect that to be the case is, we see what happened with the Hulk. Now, a lot of people are like, well, hey, they didn't do that to the Hulk on purpose. The Hulk chose to stay in that spaceship. Well, if you look at the way that Infinity War played out, Iron Man wasn't shocked with a joy on his face. He wasn't shocked like, how did you survive on his face, seeing that that Bruce Banner was here. He was shocked in his almost as a, how did you get here?
What do you mean by that?
Look, like, there's no way that you're here. That's not possible. Like, in some sense, he planned to get rid of Bruce Banner because Hulk was uncontrollable. Like, that's that picture that is being given to me. So if Iron Man or anyone a part of S.H.I.E.L.D. or anyone a part of any government power force in play would do that to the Hulk, they're going to be preparing to or isolating themselves against mutants if they feel as though they might be a threat. So I believe that evidence is there. And even more so, I believe that there's a possibility we might get World War Hulk, World Breaker.
What did he say?
Hulk. Hey, come on now. Root with me. I know y'all want it. I know you want it. Okay. Another piece to that too is, watch here. In earlier Marvel, what we saw with Captain America, the experiments with the super soldier serum to make a person to be a strong soldier to fight for their country. And we see other countries trying to equip themselves with that same type of power. Not simply for war. Again, this is me just thinking out loud with you guys. But I don't think that's just simply for battle. I don't think that they were preparing for simply for war. But I believe that they were already encountering mutants around this time. It's already believed that Logan, aka Wolverine, was a soldier within the military already around the same time as Captain America. And we know that he was captured and experimented on within that time as well to be Weapon X, which is a powerful weapon, not only to go against other countries, but a powerful weapon to go up against mutants by using a mutant to do that. We have a lot of supporting evidence for that. But with that being said, right, we see that they kept trying to replicate Captain America. But why though? Is it just simply for countries to have their own strength, or for them to have strong humans to combat against strong mutant opponents or mutant opposition? Because what we see now after Captain America and the Winter Soldier, the series, we see that there are multiple people that have been influenced by, that have been empowered by the serum. We can see that that's being sold everywhere. Now, okay, so with that all being said, right, where does that leave us? Where does that lead us? In one sense, right, the reason Thanos was a problem, comic book wise, is because Thanos wasn't just some alien. Thanos, in fact, was an Eternal. He is a deviant, but he is also a mutant. He incorporates all three of these things. And of the three things that were created at the beginning of time for humanity, due to the influence of the Celestials, the only ones we haven't seen yet are the mutants. And Thanos is the, other than Wanda and Quicksilver, Thanos is the only other mutant that we genuinely see. So what do we have coming up, right? What do we have coming up in the MCU? We have Wakanda Forever coming up in the MCU. So with Wakanda Forever coming up in the MCU, we have Namor showing up. guess what? Namor is a mutant as well. Namor being a mutant, that's another mutant that's being introduced into the MCU. Okay, I'm gonna come back to Ms. Marvel here in a minute, but I'm just pointing out from the new shows that are coming up. We have where they're being introduced through Namor himself. Okay, I believe that we're gonna see that with She-Hulk as well. We're gonna see that with She-Hulk, and we're gonna see that with Daredevil Born Again. Okay, why would I think those have anything to do with what's coming? Well, the reason for that is we see with Ms. Marvel that she was being attacked by the group known as Damage Control. They saw her as some superpowered entity that is going around and using their powers all freely. That's risky for humanity. We need to bring them in. So they go in to capture her undiscriminately. They don't have any evidence to see that she's a threat. They don't have anything to prove that she's a problem. Where all of these other heroes are being celebrated and looked up to, even by Kamala herself, they're trying to capture her and bring her down and imprison her, as a matter of fact. That's what we see happening, but they ended up capturing the Jinn, of course. But we see that in Ms. Marvel, okay? And then we see with She-Hulk that a legal team is needed for these superpowered beings. Why? Why would a legal team be needed for superpowered beings? Because superpowered beings are also being arrested and taken in, questioned and accused, discriminated against and judged. So they're going to need a legal team. And who better to lead them than superhumans themselves? But the complication with that is the mutants are the most complicated to fully understand. And if you guys know, as I was talking about earlier, Captain America and the Winter Soldier, they're making more soldiers, not simply for having more soldiers to fight other soldiers, but I think they might be having those soldiers to be able to have a certain level of army to go up against the mutants, because they fear that the mutants are going to be a threat to the rest of the world. That's where we have Captain America New World Order. That has also the potential for introducing mutants into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's all here. I'm telling you guys, all the evidence is right here. Now this leads me to my last point that makes me think that the mutants are going to be introduced with these little segments throughout, okay? You got Avengers Kang Dynasty. Anyone that knows the origin of Kang, I'm not an expert, but I know a little bit, and from what I do know, Kang started out by using his influence within Egypt. Do you know who else was in Egypt at the time? Apocalypse. Yes, Apocalypse was there in Egypt. Somewhat, they did get that part right in the Fox version of the X-Men Apocalypse movie, where he came from Egypt. They got that part right for the most part. He's straight out of Egypt. One of the first mutants to ever manifest themselves is Apocalypse. And if in Kang Dynasty we're going to be getting a tapping into that origin, we will have a possibility of tapping into Apocalypse origin, which is a what? What? It's bringing in more mutants. But guys, like I said, this is simply to run through a couple of theories that I had with what's already been shown in the MCU, as well as what we're going to end up possibly seeing within the MCU coming soon. And I just wanted to make sure that I shared my perspective and my view and my opinion on this thing with you guys. And I hope you like it. I hope it's somewhat some of what we see. Because the Dawn of X storyline, I'm telling you guys, the X-Men, the mutants, they do some amazing stuff. You'd be surprised, for anyone that knows Apocalypse. Apocalypse actually lives on Krakowa with the mutants and is in agreement with Professor X and Magneto and everything that they're doing. This is amazing. There's so much potential for what we can see come out of the MCU with introducing the X-Men. This is going to be amazing. So I look forward to seeing you guys check out this video. Thank you guys for being a part of this channel with Christ and Comics, and I hope you have a blessed one. Peace.